now. I like Tua, but he limits that offense. He does. And I think when you have a quarterback like that, it limits what you can do. Look what Sean McVay did. That they're not that different. Jared Goff is a bit better of a processor and doesn't have to. He's got a better arm too. Jared Goff's got a hose. Like he's got a hose, and I think people forget that. Tua doesn't.
Yeah,
he can't throw the ball to all levels of the field. He has to throw with anticipation. So I buy into Mike McDaniel, what he's selling, but the problem for me is that Tua cannot run everything that he wants to run.
Yeah, okay. I can get with you. I'll deal with another good question.
Again,
Thank you.
It's my opinion. You don't have to have the same opinion as me, but it's mine.
Nope, I ain't gonna. That's all right. I'm trying not to. I'm not trying not to argue with you for no reason because you're right. We should have differing opinions. That's how things get done. Ozzy, what would you guys make the top 4 wide receiver snap counts look like? What would you do?
So for me, I think you still have to have Watson out there because he still knows the most about the playbook and is still relatively in the right spots, and he's made better downfield catches. I think that they were able to do that with Mahomes. So he's going to be up there. Rashee Rice obviously should lead the team in snap count. In my opinion, he shouldn't come off the field unless he's like running a deep route and then catches it or doesn't catch it and needs to get off the field for a breather. That's fine. You go ahead and take it. And then it would be Richie James for me, and then McCole Hardman. That's what I would do. Those are the 4 wide receivers that I would have playing the most snaps, and it would be X and Z for Rashee Rice and Justin Watson, and you rotate in McCole every now and then on the outside, but for the most part, it's Rashee Rice or it's James and McCole in the slot, and that's what I would do all damn game, and then I'd play a lot of 12.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue with you much. I will say this: Rashee Rice should play 80% of the snaps. Kadarius Toney should play 50%. This is assuming everybody's healthy and they're ready to go. We don't know about Kadarius. But
that's I'll say I didn't include Kadarius because I don't know about his health. I've got nothing.
Yeah. I'm making the assumption. But I would give him 50%, James 50%. I would give McCole 50% and 50%. So there's your 11 personnel for most of the game. The other 20% that Rashee isn't on the field, I'd give MVS. That's fine. And then I would pepper in Ross whenever you could. I would give is that everybody? Did I cover everyone? I think I did.
I think so for the most part for the room. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I would do. Mike, what's up, buddy? Do you think that we should sign Hollywood Brown free agents? He is projected to only get $12 million. No, he's not worth $12 million.
If he's hurt, I would not give him $12 million a year. If you want us 12, no thanks. You can get 8. I'll give you. I'll give you 8. Yeah, I know you will. I'm just saying I'll give you 8. But we're approaching double digit. No thanks. I'm out.
Hell, I'll give you 3, and I'll give you $100,000 every game you actually suit up for. How's that, Mike? Which wide receivers are activated in the playoffs? It's that same room right now. I believe Sky would be eligible to come back after next week. Same with Jerick McKinnon, right?
I think Sky went on the week before McKinnon did.
Okay, so he's eligible this week, as is Cook.
I think so. Maybe I'm wrong.
Okay,
look it up.
Fair enough. Jerick has to miss one playoff game, if I remember correctly, so he could be back for the divisional game. But so that's what the wide receiver room is going to look like. You could elevate somebody if you had an injury. Let's see who's down there still. It's Cornell Powell. Montreal Washington is the guy that I always forget. So yeah, apologies.
He's come up a couple times.
Yeah. Is our Chiefs still weak up the middle? I mean, weaker, yeah. I think mostly because Nick Bolton hasn't been in the flow as much because of the injuries. Like he was off the field a little bit, but that is still the run in particular is the weakest part. I do feel like he and Tranquil have been manning the middle in the like at least in the zone drops pretty dang well. So I would still say that most of the weakness is going to go down the middle between the hashes, but I think it's more in the run than it is in the pass. Do you disagree?
No, I don't disagree with you at all. And yeah, Sky Moore was placed on IR on December 18th, McKinnon on the 24th.
Okay, so Sky should be eligible this week then.
Yeah, should be.
1, 2, 3. Yeah, I think so. Ben, can Rashee Rice develop into a true number 1? It's borderline for me, but I think it's a possibility. I think honestly, he really ought to be a number 2. and take the non-vertical type stuff.
Yeah. I'm not there that he can develop into a true number one. And that's largely because the Chiefs have basically took away the one thing he was good at and said, this is what you're going to do in the NFL. So I need to see them use him a little bit more in the vertical game like he was in college. And that's where I'll get more of, okay, I can see it. He's running all the routes. He's getting the ball short, intermediate, deep, and then winning on his own, in his own way. The route, I mean, obviously the route adjustment into the zone and going deep down the field against the Bengals is a good start, but you have to be able to uncover against man coverage to be a true number one. So that's where my biggest question right now is. I don't know if he's going to be able to do that.
I'm with you there. Whiskey, thanks for the support, buddy. Good to see you back. What's your wild card prognostication? Does Pitt have a chance against Buffalo? He's going with Buffalo, KC, Cleveland, Philly, Dallas, and Detroit. What do you have?
So, yeah, I think the Pittsburgh Steelers have a chance, mostly because it's going to be a slog fest. It's going to be wet. It's going to be cold. And guess what? That's Pittsburgh Steelers music. They love that shit. That is the great equalizer for a team that prides themselves on running the football and playing good defense. Even with JJ Watt or TJ Watt not there, they can still muddy this game up enough. Josh Allen throws a couple of bad interceptions like he typically always does, and it's a game in the fourth quarter. I don't think that's outside of the realm of possibilities at all. And yeah, so they've got a shot. I have Buffalo winning. I've got Kansas City winning. I have Cleveland as well. I actually have Tampa Bay beating Philadelphia. I don't believe in their defense in the slightest. And Mike Evans, Chris Godwin bombs away Baker. That's terrible news for the Philadelphia defense that just allowed the combination of Tyrod Taylor and Tommy Cutlets to throw the ball down the field on them. I also have the Rams beating the Lions.
I do too. Well
They're
done.
really good.
Wow, we agreed on a. Oh, I agree with you on Pittsburgh. It is a distinct possibility. The only thing that I'll argue with, and it's sad what's going on in Philly. I am shocked by it, to tell you the truth. The only thing that I will differ with you on is I think Houston can beat the Cleveland Browns. I think they can. What Stroud is doing.
I think they can. My problem is that all Cleveland has to do is double Nico Collins. There is nobody that can win anywhere else on that field. There's nobody there. So I'm a little worried about that personally. They also can't run the ball. And I love CJ Stroud. I think he's going to keep them in this football game, even if they take away Nico. I think that the best unit in this game is Cleveland's defense. That's why I picked them to win.
Fair enough. I'm taking the fact that they're at home and they don't have to go to Cleveland outside, that they're right in it, and I think they could pull the upset. Yeah. Thank you, Whiskey. Great question. Werewolf, how insane would it be if Buffalo lose in the first round and the Chiefs win, giving the Chiefs home field until the AFC title game? I mean, that could be it, but let's be real. I mean, crazier things have happened than them losing. Ravens could lose as well. I mean, this is the playoffs. Anything can happen. I won't put anything by it. And no offense with the distractions that will come for the Ravens' success. And there, Tom Monken's getting interest now. There's a lot of guys who are going to get interest. We'll talk about the Chiefs probably next week because they're already coming for the Chiefs front office. Like, everybody's a little bit distracted in wild card week. And so you never know what's going to happen. But yeah, that would definitely be crazy. It would be kind of fun. SS, thank you again. Super chat. Folks, he's a member. He gives more memberships out and he hits the super chat. This is a super fan. Minotaur, we appreciate you. Unpopular opinion, and I got to be honest. We all want to win the Super Bowl. I get it. But at the same time, I wouldn't mind not picking at the bottom of the draft. We can't count on the wide receiver group to magically step it up. I mean, that's fair, but I got to tell you, you go out at what, 20, 24? You still ain't getting a top talent in the wide receiver room. You ain't getting a Dunze. You probably aren't getting Neighbors. I mean,
Neighbors is going top 10. I'll tell you right now.
Yeah.
The Chargers are drafting him at 5. Yeah, I'm almost positive.
Probably. I don't know. At that point, I think 32 is as good as 26 by the time it all wrinkles out. I don't think you're getting as much of an advantage.
And let's be honest, I think the Chiefs are going to make a move in free agency. I think that they're going to do that. And because it's not just young talent you still need young talent. You need a veteran to be able to show them where to be, to how to play the game. They don't have someone that can help them sit in zone in the wide receiver room. And again, as much as Travis Kelce is there to help, he is in the tight end room. He's not really helping a ton of the wide receivers how to learn how to play the game. It's not in his job description, and typically the wide receiver room and the wide receiver coaches need to be the one to do that. So right now we're looking at I would love to see them go after Mike Evans, because I think he's the perfect veteran receiver to, one, help your offense and teach your young players how to win in the NFL. He's been doing it for a long time. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer in my mind, and he's just a perfect answer to a lot of the questions that are asked in this wide receiver room.
And I know he's not the type of receiver that is classic for this offense.
Yeah.
But he can still run. And I think he's proven that in the last few weeks. And that was my big concern. Like, is he still able? I know he's willing. Yeah. Is he still able? And it looks like it is, like he is to me. So I'm with you there. Thank you, Minotaur. Appreciate you as always for everything. Ozzy, the Buffalo's feasting over the middle with the tight ends against Miami with their injuries. Do you think that they will be able to do the same against Kelce? Yeah, I mean, Riley scored well from PFF, but Riley's not the coverage linebacker that you want in there. I think Travis can take advantage of him. I honestly think all the slot receivers can take advantage of him. The difference is, instead of running those curls constantly, they got to get him on an edge. They got to get those intermediate crossers, not necessarily the low drag at like 6 yards, but you got to get to the 8 to 10 yard range and hit that angle running away. Exactly what McColl did last week, they need to do this week.
I'm with you. I'd love to see that. I think that, David Long's a very good linebacker too. So they might just put David Long on Travis Kelce and just kind of say, well, we'll do what we can against everybody else. And I think you can win that way. Honestly, I think you do. Yeah,
you're probably right. Jesus, thank you. Do you see the Miami attacking the Chiefs? How do you see them attacking the Chiefs? In the secondary? Yeah, they're going to go after Chamar Connor, especially if he's lining up deep. They're going to run some late breaking routes for Tyreek in terms of making it look like he's taking a crosser across Chamar's face to get him to turn his hips, and Tyreek will blast the other way into the gap in a cover 2 look with 2 highs, something like that. And I think they're going to run the ball.
Yeah, I think they're going to do the exact same thing that they always do in Miami with the wide receivers and attacking the secondary. Like, I think that for me, it comes down to the run game. You got to be able to stop Achane from getting to the second level. If he gets to the second level, it becomes very tough from there. You got to stop him before.
Yeah, you are dialed in as always, my friend. Cody, Finns are missing a lot of linebackers going into this game. Is it a big pop game? It will be if they can get past the defensive tackles. The tackles are strong. They got to run outside. If they do that, I think they'll be in good shape.
Gotcha. I'm with you.
Des, do either of you think that Caleb Williams will struggle in cold weather if he goes to Chicago? I'm interested in your take on this.
So, possibly. It really, I've never seen him play in cold weather. I haven't seen it. It doesn't mean it can't. He's an athlete, so I'm not super worried about like his ability to move outside the pocket and stuff like that. It being able to play in cold, I'm not super worried about it. But it takes a certain kind of guy to be able to play in these cold weather, AFC North, NFC North kind of games. But 2 of those fields are domed in the NFC North, in Minnesota and Detroit. So as much as, the cold's going to get you in Chicago, you don't play every game there. So I'm not super, super worried about it myself.
Okay. I'm down. Thank you, Des. Appreciate you as always, buddy. Let's see. Mr. Doug, RJ is the most offensive and defensive you both have been impressed with this season. Defensive teams, defensive players, Dolphins?
I would just say player. I would say player on the team. Who was the guy that's been impressed you this year on offense and defense?
The guy that surprised me the most, honestly, is Joe Thuney. I think he's had 0 fall off. 0. He looks as good as he did last season, the season before to me. What about you?
It's the obvious answer. It's Rashee Rice. I didn't expect this out of him this year. We also expected a great deal out of other players. But not only has he been a much different player than he was in college, he's learning, he's getting better. It's not just winning off of pure athleticism, it's football IQ. He's winning in different ways, and he's earned every single touch that he's gotten this year. Honestly, he's earned more than he's gotten, and he's going to keep getting it. So for me on the offensive side, it's Rashee Rice, and on the defensive side, it's L'Jarius Sneed. L'Jarius Sneed has been maybe the most impressive defensive player in football this year, and no one really talks about him enough. He's a legitimate lockdown corner, things that we maybe saw some glimmers of last year, but before then he was a slot corner and not really asked to do this. We didn't know for sure, but he's got that dog in him. He's got that mentality. He wants to line up against the best. He wants to play the best, and he has never backed down from any challenge this season. He's been fantastic.
I completely